Why has the cost of fuel skyrocketed this year? Are you finding that your fuel's just not lasting as long as it was before? Does £20 of fuel feel more like 10 these days? Well, in this video, we're going to be covering all of those questions as well as doing a deep dive into why petrol just isn't lasting as long as before. What's going on, guys? Will here, and today we're back with a brand new video and we're going to be looking into why fuel has skyrocketed, why fuel just isn't lasting as long as before, and also what we can expect for the rest of the year going into 2023. If you do enjoy the video, please remember to leave a like down below. It lets the YouTube algorithm know that you're enjoying this content and that other people might enjoy the content as well. Also, hit that subscribe button and ding on that notification bell. That way you'll be notified every time I upload. That really helps us small creators out. Don't forget to check out all of my other socials as well. I'll leave them in a link down below and there'll be some pop-ups across the screen in the video, so feel free to check those out too. So to start off this deep dive, we need to understand what the current situation is with petrol, especially in the UK. Has there been anything that's happened over the past year which has altered what fuel we're consuming and caused this price rise? Firstly, let's start with prices. Looking at this graph, we can see that prices have absolutely skyrocketed over the past 12 months. This graph shows the prices of petrol and diesel before the pandemic going into the pandemic. Typically, the prices did fluctuate, but the main cost was between 120p per litre and 140p per litre. We then saw a huge decrease in fuel costs, and this just because the demand wasn't high. We entered into a lockdown due to the pandemic and no one was travelling, therefore they had to lower the prices. But gone are the days where there's a surplus of fuel, and gone are the days where you could just fill up your tank at £1 per litre. Post-pandemic, we have seen the biggest increase in the cost of fuel for decades. We've seen a 90p increase per litre in the past 2 years, which is just mind-blowing. To think pre-pandemic prices were averaging between 120 and 140, and that was the utmost of 140p per litre. Earlier on in the year, we were seeing prices of 190p per litre, even at some places over £2 per litre. This means if we take an example of an average family in an average size hatchback, they were seeing a cost of £25 to £30 increase in their fuel bill per full tank. And that's comparing it to what they would have paid pre-pandemic. And if we take that example and compare that to people that have to fill up on average once a week, that can be over £100 a month extra on fuel. So let's look into why have the cost of fuel gone up so much, especially in the last 12 months. Well, there are many contributing factors to this. Firstly, the cost of oil has increased immensely. This has been due to a mixture of things like the pandemic causing mass disruption across all of the world, the current political ongoings at key countries which provide most of our oil, and then also we have seen a massive, rapid rise in inflation over the past 12 months due to the economy just expanding quicker than we can keep up with. But then we also have the massive rise in fuel companies' profits in the last year. This article from Fortune in May shows that BP made a $6.2 billion profit in the first quarter of the year, and that's comparing it to the $4.1 billion profit that they made in the previous quarter. We see similar stories with other companies like Shell, but most of us already know of these ongoing problems from the media and the news and all of the articles that come out surrounding these key topics at the moment. So apart from that, is there anything else that's causing us to feel like we're using a lot more fuel than what we were previously? Well, there is a factor that has come into play over the past year which might be a reason why it feels like we're consuming more fuel and therefore spending more money on fuel. Let's look at petrol. So in the UK, we recently made the switch from the E5 fuel to the E10 fuel. Now this form of petrol is much more synthetic compared to its predecessor. So let's start and look at what the difference is between the two fuels. E5 was a fuel with a mixture of 5% ethanol, whereas the E10 fuel has a 10% ratio of ethanol. The reason for this change is because the E10 petrol is more environmentally friendly, and this is because of the ethanol makeup. Now, ethanol is an alcohol-based fuel which comes from the fermentation of plants. The government decided they were going to make the jump and change it and make it mandatory at all petrol stations in the UK. And that's just to deal with the current ongoing environmental situation in the world. We know that we need to cut down on our crude oil usage, so this is one of the steps they're taking, which, given the justification, I think that's fair enough. So how will this affect my driving and the regularity at filling up at petrol stations? Well, the bad news about E10 fuel is that it's just not as economic as the previous E5 predecessor. Even the government themselves have commented saying that it's slightly less fuel efficient than the predecessor. However, they did say that most households shouldn't see that much of a difference. I don't know about you, but that doesn't fill me with much confidence. We all know how the government like to sugarcoat things. Me personally, I do mainly long distance driving, and I have noticed the drop off in fuel consumption compared to the E5 before they made the change. Let me know in the comments down below if you have felt the same. Have you noticed the drop off in fuel consumption? I'd love to know down below. So now that we know that the fuel on average is 40 to 50p more expensive than it was pre-pandemic, and we also know that the fuel we're using is less economical than it was previously. So to put it simply, we're paying more money for less economic fuel. But hey, at least we're helping the environment, right? So now that we know why the cost of fuel has gone up and that the efficiency of fuel has gone down, what can we expect moving forward? What can we expect for the rest of the year, or what can we expect for 2023? Is there any positives that point towards the cost of fuel dropping? Well, we do have some hope. According to this article from Sky, prices are slowly going down. This is due to the price of crude oil falling too. Sky says the reason for this drop in price is because they're worried of that the demand will go over the coming months, and this is because of the other bills already skyrocketing. The average family will not be thinking about filling their car up over paying other bills. So they're dropping the price to try and keep that consumption on the move. We can see here that as of August, the prices were down to 177.46p per litre for petrol and 188.23p for diesel. Whereas compared to July's figures of 191.3p for petrol and 199.07p per litre for diesel, causes positive signs ahead. So to conclude this video, the reason why it feels like prices are so sky high is a mixture of two things. One, the prices have risen astronomically over the past year, but they're starting to decrease. And secondly, the efficiency of the fuel has gone down since we've moved from the E5 to the E10 variant. However, the positive signs is we seem to be over the worst period. Like I said previously in the video, July was a really bad month for fuel. £1.90 to £2 per litre just isn't acceptable for any family. Moving from July, we are currently 20p below that all-time high. We can also see that day by day, fuel prices are slowly but surely coming down. If we can continue this trajectory, then we should be in a good place come 2023. As for the change in less efficient fuel, I feel like we all need to take the positive from this. Yes, the fuel performs slightly worse than what it did before, but this fuel has a less of an impact on the environment until we can mass produce fully synthetic fuels and the cost of the electric vehicle market reduces significantly. I guess it's something to keep our eyes on, but for now that is going to be the end of the video. I hope you guys understand a little bit more about why the prices of fuel are so high, that there's positive signs ahead, and hopefully I won't have to do another video on this because the fuel prices will return to normal shortly. I'm praying for that anyway. Anyway, everyone, I hope you did enjoy the video. That is going to be the end of the video. Please leave a comment down below your thoughts on the cost of petrol prices at the moment. What number do you think we need to get to before we're in a sustainable place for every single household, not just the people that have loads of money to spare? Also, where do you think we will be come 2023? Do you think we'll be back to normal, or do you think we'll see another spike in fuel prices? Remember to like the video if you did enjoy it. Really lets the algorithm know that you're enjoying my content and that other people may like the content too. Please also remember to subscribe and ding dong that notification bell. That way you can stay tuned for every single upload. It really does help us smaller creators out. Anyway, that's going to be all for this week. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good day. Have a good week. Peace out.